How's it going, everybody? JT here on behalf of the EV Mavericks Discord and the Ethereum daily general discussion on Reddit. This is the weekly Doots live stream. It's all about showcasing the best of the week from the Ethereum daily general discussion. This is a read-along reaction series. If you want to head on over to dailydoots.com, you can check out our rich list of all the people that have made the daily Doots, as well as all the lists of the weekly Doots we've had now. This is our beloved website designed and produced by our very own Hani Abu, and all of our daily Doots are calculated and mathematically arranged with the click of a button by Tricky Troll. And of course, we'd like to thank the A Word for curating the weekly Doots, which is this show right here. Don't read these out ahead of time. This is kind of the best of the week that was for this 154th episode. This is, what is this, July 31st, 2026? I cannot believe we are well over half of the year done. And hopefully by this time, next Friday, we will know a little bit more about the Clarity Act. And if we're able to get that thing pushed across the finish line, or at least onto the next step before the, I think they call it the congressional break or whatever it is. Because those politicians, you know, they get worn out stealing money and requiring all this. Anyway, I won't go into politics. Anyway, if you know somebody that wants to jump in on this action as a guest, send them my way. We're going to have some team members from Quotient coming up on the 21st. And I've been told that we're going to have a person by the name of Zal. I'm going to say Zal, from the ZAW, Z-A-W. And so this will be probably on the 28th, although it may change. This is it'll be fun to get a couple of guests on here and learn about some new products and things that are going on out there in the ERC land, the Ethereum world. Okay, so I got LogrisTheBard here. Logri, how are you doing, my man? Good to see you jump on.
Doing fine.
Very good. Zal, you got your hand up. You want to jump up here on stage, you can. He happened to come into the audience. Good to have you on the show.
GMs, DM, everyone. I hope we're doing wonderful.
Excellent. So LogrisTheBard just made a big old move across the pond to Europe. And so we're going to start doing these shows a little earlier in the day. It kind of works for me, and it's going to work for him over there as well, as he gets nestled in over there in Europe. And makes all the friends that he can. He's working again, and that's great too. And Zal, we're going to definitely have you on the podcast. You can hang out on stage. We love to have people that like to chime in and incorporate their ideas into the show. If you're watching this on Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, or X, you could go to dailydoots.com and jump into the Discord and get in the audience. And if you want to raise your hand, we can chat. That'd be great. Other than that, I read Reddit, so you don't have to. And speaking of which, let's just jump right over to dailydoots.com. I'm going to refresh the page one more time just to make sure we got the latest tabulations on our rich list. The rich list for this week, July 31st, 2026, ethical trade at 121, the A word at 126, crypto currency at 141, Hani Abu at 145, JS Tiers at 167, Tricky Troll at 181, Benito 2030 at 185, Superfizz at 250, LogrisTheBard at 264, and Harog at the top of the list, as always, at 367. So amazing. I was riffing on the price a little bit when I was like, let's party like it's 1878, because as of a few hours ago, it was $1,878, and I feel like riding in the canoe down the river, which is what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. For lack of a better description of what I'm getting myself into, let's just say the crew that I'm riding down the river with probably really likes banjos and the movie Deliverance, and they're in-laws. So it's gonna be a good time. It'll be 6 hours, and there's gonna be plenty of bush light. We wouldn't have anything too refined out there on the waiting around in the water in the Ozarks. We're gonna be deep in Missouri country, so it's all good. They're good people. They're a lot of fun. But they're so much fun, even my wife didn't want to go. That's her siblings. We're gonna have a good time, man. I'm excited. All right, well, let's just jump right into this morning roundup here. Fiberpunk 2077 chimes in Ethereum. Alexis Kef, he said $1,900. That must have been right at the crack of midnight. Woodpecker Horror 3468 gives us the ratio, which is still under 0.03 at 0.029. A weekly haiku courtesy of JS Tears. Some will take the sword. All holders should be on board. Prepare for discord. Okay. How does he do it, JS Tears? How do you do it? All right. Here we go. Ship post of the week, because we always like to save the best for first. By user Banana Boat Spirit. That's a pretty cool username. A duder number 8 for this week. If I've learned two things in my whole adult life, it's this. Never trust a fart when traveling through India. And never trust a Sunday afternoon ETH pump. Have a good day, everybody. That's hilarious, man. Never trust a fart when traveling through India or anywhere for that matter. But I guess, yeah, it could be a little more sketchy over there. Don't eat the street food, I guess. I don't know. None ether the less. How do I say that? None etherless. 325 asks about the necessity of tokens in successful DeFi protocols. None etherless. 325 is a due number 12 for this week. A question for DeFi connoisseur and business-minded people. Some of my favorite DeFi protocols are Uniswap, Exchange, and Morpho, which is lending. What I like in these two is the fact that they are unopinionated and immutable. The code does not change, and the financials primitives they allow stay general. But I am wondering why these very successful protocols even need a token besides funding the team and development. The token could capture fees generated by the protocol, but as far as I understand, these fees would be a good coat rent-seeking. Okay? Copyright aside, could they deploy a fork just setting the fee parameter to 0 and it would provide the same primitive for cheaper? What's the argument for the token? Brand recognition? The fork could be malicious? Was it all about network effect? What is the purpose of these tokens in the DeFi protocols? Logri, Zal, you guys got any ideas on that?
Okay, so as you said, one is just capital formation. I mean, not all code just has a zero cost basis, and there are ongoing administrative functions that have to be done for various protocols, whether that's risk management or whether that's an insurance pool or whether that's code review or whatever it would be. Most software, including on the blockchain, isn't just static, fire once and forget. Even something like Uniswap has ongoing development. They just have an immutable contract. So there's Uniswap V1, V2, V3, V4 is coming out, right? So without some type of eventual, let's say, rent seeking, how do you fund those activities? And if you don't fund those activities, then what's stopping something like Robinhood eventually from offering just a better product, and we eventually lose and sunset all of DeFi? So I don't think it's just rent seeking. I think there are legitimate activities. Those have legitimate costs. People have to be compensated to do necessary things for an ecosystem. And that is the art of tokenomics, is incentive alignment, making sure that everyone that has an essential job for the ecosystem has an incentive to do that job. So that's one thing. And then there's also like governance, of course, right? We have to reach consensus somehow. And one way we're doing that right now, whether you like it or not, is token voting, which is basically capital deciding who and what gets through in the protocol versus. Otherwise, there's a variety of tokens that aren't just like the governance token or the protocol token, right? A stablecoin's a token.
Yeah.
Right? What's the value in that? Transmission, right?
Yeah.
There's very synthetic tokens lent into existence, like ALETH, for example, right? Alchemy. So that's a token. What's its purpose? Well, I can't mint ETH. I can mint ALETH, and then we just figure out what the discount is based on supply and demand. People repaying their loan versus people generating it, and the pressure of redemptions. So I think he's missing a good number of tokens. There's also RWAs, of course. There's equities, right? There's going to be increasingly things that are off-chain. There's a ledger of who owns what is on-chain, no matter how permissioned or KYC'd or walled garden that may be. Mm-hmm. Nonetheless, so those are tokens. So just to start with, he's missing a bunch of category of tokens. But even if I narrow it down to protocol, right, not L1 tokens like, Near or whatever, if I limit down to just protocol tokens or application tokens on a chain, even then, I wouldn't just frame it as rent seeking. I would frame it as capital formation, and I would frame it as incentive alignment, so that people that need to do code review can do code review. People that need to do, I don't know, people that need to do audits can do audits. The people that need to assess the risk framework and say this is the vault that makes it in and doesn't, those people all need to be distributed money. Now you could try to skim, just like off of, imagine you can have a token. You skim to some type of pool and then you direct the money to those parties directly without some token governing that. But then how do you decide who gets how much of that skim?
Right.
And if you need to change one of those underlying parties somehow, how do you do that? And quickly you get back into this governance. It just seems to be an unavoidable thing that nothing is set up perfectly from the outset. And if anything has an ongoing commitment, there has to be some money for that. And when we're spending that money, of course, we have to somehow decide who it's spent on. What are the legitimate expenses, right? And right now we use token voting for that. I do think there are better systems right now.
And I think also just in general, I felt like there was a time there where it was just kind of expected that your team releases a token, and then you started rubbing up against all the regulatory problems. And like a yield, let's say Uniswap, for example, if you have a yield generating token intertwined with the protocol, I'm wondering if there would be a lot of regulatory scrutiny amongst the different governments, and in some way maybe less people would be allowed to use it, which would lower fee revenue on just the transactions to the team. I don't know. It just like it's
most of those
muddy
laws,
water
even
thing.
around the world, most of the laws, even around the world, aren't on the user side. They're on the person providing the
Right.
financial instruments. You're not allowed to admit and sell the token, but they're not going to criminalize someone for using Uniswap usually. That said, there are institutions that are like, if this thing is potentially sketchy, we don't want to be associated with it, right?
Yep.
So if the protocol isn't above board because as a token, then I don't think Fidelity is going to launch an integration with them or something, right?
Right.
So that's one type of user, but I also don't think Fidelity is going to integrate with Uniswap regardless. They're going to launch a Fidelity exchange on chain or something right instead.
Exactly.
And then they'll use it for backend rails and tear down the less efficient systems that predated it, and it'll increase their margins. And they're going to plug all their customer funds into the chain, regardless of whether customers like that or not.
Yep.
Increase their margins, and the rich get richer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we're at right now.
Good deal. Any other thoughts, Saul? I don't know if you wanted to chime in. I'll just watch for you to unmute, or at any time, just start chiming in. All right, we'll move on down the list here. Edmund Egger, fellow moderator, is impressed how developed .gwei domains are. Edmund Edgar this week just crossed the 50 mark on the Doots list. That's a pretty significant number. Edmund Edgar was always a team moderator for our Ethereum, but he used to frequent our ETH Finance, our old sub, a lot, and as a moderator and a community member in both places, really climbed up the charts, and it's really cool to see him cross the 50 mark this week. Wow, .gwei is a bit more developed than I expected, he writes. Lots of infrastructure working. If you go to gwei.domains, let's go take a look real quick. The Gwei name service, okay? It's like ENS service, but .gwei, I guess, right? And it looks like they've removed all the governance features, which is really nice. I considered making a fork to do this when ENS introduced the governance features in circa 2019-ish. It was so obviously all going to end it in tears. The main problem with removing governance is that you can't set the fees dynamically, so they might end up inappropriate, but they've just set reasonable low fees. They get burned instead of going to a treasury. These are probably okay even when ETH is 10K. So, for example, one byte is 0.5 ETH, 2 byte is 0.1 ETH, 3 byte is 0.05 ETH, and 4 byte is 0.01 ETH. Anything longer is 0.0005 ETH. All right, there you go.
Even you and I can afford that.
We can afford that. I like that. That's getting into $1.50 Costco hot dog territory, Finch. Very good. Master
My
Roche.
first
Yeah, go ahead.
my first NFT purchase was my Zal.eth name, and I was like, oh, like that's a lot of money, but like I'm gonna do it. And then I realized is the four letters is really killing me.
Yeah.
But you got an airdrop out of it, right? So it paid for itself eventually. Yeah.
Nah, I got it in 2023, so no.
Oh no.
So that's interesting. The fewer the characters, the more expensive. So that's kind of like,
Often true for domain names too.
yeah, it's true for domain names. I remember when I got hacked, the guy that was hacking me, along with a bunch of other people through SIM swapping, was he also acquired the @0 Instagram account. So that was that was one of his biggest heists, was actually the @0. Okay, fun fact about losing a fuckload of money. All right, here we go. User Ellendron. Wait, sorry, I skipped one here. Master Roshi 9 discusses the ETH issuance debate and gets a bunch of good replies. Ooh, this will be juicy. Master Roshi 9 is a duder number 19 this week. Can someone explain to me what the draw is for an issuance reduction on ETH? I feel like this is very much a quote, don't fix what isn't broken type thing. ETH inflation is already lower than most fiat currencies, and that yield is a big part of what makes ETH useful in DeFi and desirable to hold. I'm having trouble finding any positives to it. Less stakers and DeFi usage does not equal price go up. Smaller margins to solo staking means more centralization. Stoby Duder 23 replies on several points. Replying to this specific point, smaller margins to solo staking means more centralization. Stoby says, don't believe this at all. Solo staked for years. The cost of doing so relative to the value of ETH is zero. I kind of agree with that because of how cheap the hardware is. Even if the yield isn't all that great, it's not really costing you. I mean, we're way off from having a problem with the amount of ETH you earn is not able to cover the cost of the electricity. You know, it's not a Bitcoin mining problem at all. Okay, I'm going to move on down. If I'm going to find some that got upvoted a bit more. Well, it looks like Logri's post got removed. I just approved it. I'll come back to Logri's post. It says
14 upvotes. Someone saw it.
yeah, and the only reason it got removed was probably a drunk auto moderator, unfortunately. But it got 14 upvotes, so it's good. I don't see a note here where any other moderator removed it, so it was just a generic Reddit doing Reddit things. Truth Seeker, Duder number 6 says 100%. ETH's tokenomics are already solid. There's nothing to fix. If supply grew over 5% a year, I would agree, but it's currently growing under 2% a year while adoption is growing rapidly. There is also a percent of ETH lost per year. It may be small, but every year there will be people that pass away without a plan or just lose access. That's a good point. Moving on down, Woodpecker Horror 3468, Duder number 7. If I had enough brain cells left to come up with the algorithm, I'd propose a new mechanism. Instead of issuance versus burn, depending on usage and fees, I'd set issuance equals burn, with validators bidding for the fees and or staking return they are willing to work for. Confused Guy 1212 responded to that saying there was a similar EIP, I thought. I don't know why I never gained momentum. They wanted for MEV or MEV to bid on amount of burn instead of amount paid to validator proposer as a fee. Logris replied that got the most upvotes, shocker. If I had to steel man the argument, I would say the plan has always been minimal viable issuance. Is it viable to reduce the issuance on ETH? If so, then that was the consensus strategy at the time of the merge. To put it another way, does it really benefit the network to overpay for security? In the short term, the incentives might help DeFi adoption, but we saw a lot of that short-term thinking in 2020 with food tokens. And how did that play out? How did it play out for Alchemix, for that matter? All of this hinges on whether we are actually paying for more security than we need and whether decreasing what we're paying leads to more centralization, which I don't have answers to. I also personally think This is something we don't have wide consensus to change. And frankly, we have bigger problems on end user penetration. For just about everything crypto, we need to be focusing our attention on instead. I'm going to insert this, Logri. I think you keep saying we just still don't really have like the killer apps out there. The entire cypherpunk vision is at risk at the moment if Ethereum just becomes a corpo chain that increases the margins of TradFi. We need some killer apps. There it is, right there. And I just needed to keep reading. And we need the ability for people less sophisticated than you and me to actually use the chain. Hey, we got a nice crowd developing here on Discord. If you want to jump in on Discord, find us at dailydoots.com. If you're watching us on Twitch, X, YouTube, LinkedIn, and more. Thanks so much for joining in today. Yeah, that's a hell of a post. Wow. Untouchable 2Ks in the audience, too. Good to see you, man. Been a minute. Yeah, this is the issuance debate. I'm kind of in the camp of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like the 2% per year. I think that's good enough. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, the real danger to the future, it literally has nothing to do with issuance. It has everything to do with adoption and just real people, basic people with 3 brain cells like me, using apps that are just amazing and work in every way, every day, that really don't soak the pockets of TradFi with more of our dollars. I dig it. Good stuff. Yeah, it's always a good conversation, but I think it's way overblown in the FUD world on a consistent basis because they want to keep beating that drum that the issuance is the problem. The issuance is not the problem. It just hasn't been. It was at maybe one time during proof of work, but then you'd have the difficulty bomb go off and whatnot. But right now it's like, okay, deliver me the killer app. Where's it at? And it's hard. I was talking to, of all people, Paul Brody, formerly EY, formerly EEA, and he summed it up. He's like, it's really hard to it's really hard to break through with a really high quality app just with normal tools. But it's 10 times harder on the blockchain. And if you're trying to do zero knowledge privacy tooling within those apps, it's 100 times harder. And there's like almost no amount of AI that you could throw at some of these problems. It's just going to take time. That it's kind of like electricity was the fastest way that the world could improve itself, but it still took really 100 years to see all those improvements. They didn't run lights to every house for a long time. I remember, this is way side note, but it is kind of like the development of technology does take time, even something like electricity. I just interviewed my parents telling stories. My dad's a really good storyteller, and he told me out in western Kansas in the 1950s, okay, electricity had already been around for a while. This was in the 1950s, and my grandfather out in northwest Kansas, very sparsely populated. They still didn't have a ton of electricity running everywhere, but he was the first person to have a mercury sodium light that's super bright out on the farm site that would automatically turn on at night and off in the morning. And he said it was such a novel thing that some of the other farmers around the area would come to their driveway in the evening and sit there and wait for it to turn on, And that was in the 1950s. And we'd already had electricity in certain parts of the United States for quite a while. But, it still takes time to penetrate. Not that I'm saying folks out in western Kansas are the target audience, but saturation takes time no matter what the industry is. Okay. And I'll move on unless anybody wants to chime in on that. But yeah, the issuance thing I think is a little bit overblown on a regular basis. Okay, user Ellendron looks at the near-term macro outlook. Ellendron for this week is a Deuter number 2, relative newcomer to the whole scene here. Good to have you here. Let me close some tabs out. The CME Group FedWatch says 68.5% chance that the FOMC will hold rates instead of a hike on Wednesday. That's a bump of about 7% overnight. Reuters stating that the BOJ is predicted to hold rates in Japan on Friday. No fear of yen carry trade unwind in the immediate term. U.S.-Iran peace talk supposedly going in the right direction. I call bullshit on that. ETH BTC back above the 200-day and BTC still holding above the 200-week. Is the macro setting the environment for some continued upside? Find out more later on. None of this BS makes sense anymore. Oh, shit. Yeah. I'm not going to go look up the source. I do listen to a political podcast, more of a libertarian bent guy, Scott Horton. I don't know if anybody ever listens to Scott Horton. It's a Libertarian Institute guy, author, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he was interviewing this gentleman. They were reporting that Germany and several other European embassies are evacuating Tehran. That worries me a lot because if you're getting all of the international people out, I fear that an escalation is going to happen, and I don't want to even think about a world where we start talking about like tactical nuclear weapons being a thing, because that's horrifying. Anyway.
Yeah, I think when you're taking steps that lower the cost of escalation, right, you're increasing the chance of escalation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to pull all the international people out of Tehran, well, then the cost of doing something to Tehran is lower.
This idea that we're going to open up this can of worms that somehow smaller nuclear warheads that only kill 15,000 people a pop or whatever. And it makes my stomach turn. I'm tired of it. I think the world's tired of it. We just got madmen in power. Okay.
America got what they voted for.
Yep. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we got problems, people. All right. User Master Roshi finds an interesting on-chain experiment on Mega ETH. Holy crap. Master Roshi 9 is a double duder for the week. That's amazing. Great job.
He's an old school man.
3,
He's been showing up.
Yeah.
He's been showing up to be like, there's things happening on chain, and I am here for it.
God, we need people just to read. That's the other thing. We go on and on about where's our killer app, You know how hard it is to bring eyeballs to a product? Like, I thought about this too. You could have a world-changing invention that could be easily and cheaply produced to benefit people and make it recyclable and all these other things. And it won't ever see the light of day because of the marketing firepower you have to fight for attention these days. You know what I mean? So anyway, another interesting on-chain experiment, writes Master Roshi 9. This is according to x.com. Let's open up this tweet here. Stomp overview, or on-chain is fun now. I'm going to give it a like. Stomp overview. Okay, I'm going to read the post first. This guy built a fully on-chain Pokemon type of game on Mega ETH. Hey, okay. Now you got something. It says it's pretty cheap to play. Well, hopefully if it's on Mega ETH. I've actually never used or had a desire to try Mega ETH, but this will maybe give me an excuse. I would love to see more experimentation like this. This is the kind of thing that is completely unfeasible to do on any layer 1 and most layer 2s. I've always found the apparent speed of Mega ETH to feel buzzwordy because my brain doesn't naturally come up with use cases that require that kind of speed compared to any other layer 2. But here's one, I guess. I know we're all feeling down on the price, but I'm starting to find fun things to do on chain again. And that's usually a good sign for things to come. At least it was in prior bear markets. Now let's go to the tweet again. Stomp overview. Stomp.gg is a fully live on-chain, and it's a lot of fun. Collecting mons, challenge your friends, and wager in battles. Okay, so there you go. It really does look like a 8-bit Pokemon thing. I genuinely believe Stomp is one of the most interesting, complex, and fun experiences you can have on chain today. We've already run over 3,000 battles on mainnet. If you want to see what's possible with ultra-fast blocks, ultra-low fees, and ultra-insane over-engineering, I think this is it. Well, what is it? It's basically a fully on-chain Pokemon. You start by collecting a team of Mons, and then face off against your opponent in quick turns, choosing moves or switching Mons. There's a rich and varied set of mechanics. Moves can revive other mons, deal damage in future turns, or swap other mons in or deal damage over time. If there was something you liked about competitive Pokemon, there's probably a variant of it here and more. If you've played turn-based RPGs, a lot of the mechanics will be familiar to you. During battle, there's a resource system, elemental types, and various move synergies. And it all costs less than a penny in ETH to get set up and play. And everything happens fully on chain. There's the rest of this is available on X. 0x Mons, all one word. You can find the article on X on this user's account. They got 32. I've already followed them, so that's good. I've been following them. I must have.
We should get them on the podcast.
We should. So stomp.gg on X, and the author is 0x Mons on X, and we should, if you're, hopefully they can see this thing. We'd love to talk to you guys.
Let's talk about having fun on chain again.
I know. Yeah, and that's definitely something that we could demo and give them a little visibility. Like I said, it's hard to bring eyeballs. And anyway, you got to have some fun. I think it always does kind of start with fun, especially in the crypto land. And we like our memes.
It's going to be fun or porn, but
yep.
Drives technology, right?
That's right. I love it. Alexis Kev shares the latest efforts at preserving CryptoPunks permanence. Alexis Kev is a 117. Below is a link for an interesting article which explores the thoughts and plans of the Ethereum CryptoPunks community and stewards on how the CryptoPunks.app could be a permanent part of the network, or of the artwork. Preserving the canonical website. Copy pasted the conclusion of the article, but I highly recommend reading the whole thing. If you want to read the whole thing, it's available on X as well, at MaxandD, MaxAnd, Max and 98. Okay, Max and 98 on X. Permanence is a process. CryptoPunks helped establish that a digital artwork could have permanent provenance and ownership. Then the project went further. It moved from a hash of one composite image to a fully on-chain pixels and attributes. It opened its market interface so others could operate independent clients. The next step is to apply the same ideas to the official website. This does not require forcing every byte of the modern application into Ethereum. It requires ensuring that no single domain, host, API, RPC provider, or code base, or organization is indispensable. Permanence comes from immutable records, reproducible software, open specifications, independent implementations, and long-term institutional care. The punks are permanent. Their doorway should be too. All right. Good job, Alexis Kev. Alexis Kev, I believe, is on our rich list at 117. Pretty high up there on the old bar. Top 10, I believe. How Chisel, one of my favorite YouTubers. He keeps bringing good stuff to YouTube and most importantly to the R Ethereum website. So if you guys haven't found him on Reddit, he's almost always on the front page. And I always love shouting out his channel is just so good.
26. The head of product at X, Nikita Beer, posted a screenshot. Crypto was the #1 most muted topic on the platform. So
okay, that right there is a headline. Crypto is the #1 most muted term on the X website.
If the evidence wasn't already clear in real life, then you can certainly trust the data from X.
It's literally the headline.
Yeah, it's just, it's crazy. But
well,
yeah,
you can't say you don't understand why, right?
Yeah, I get it.
With crypto, there's so many people that are out to take your money. There's money involved.
The scam is the biggest reason to mute it.
Exactly, and the people that can afford to be the loudest are the scammers.
Exactly.
So people don't have the time or energy to work through what's a scam, what isn't, and so they just block the whole topic.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's crypto stuff is obnoxious to most people.
That's right.
Like money's simple. Like show me what I can do with it. Then a second later, they're confused and they're done with that, right?
Yeah. Very short attention span to really try to grasp it. And it's even made worse by scammers. It's just, it's just so noisy. That's why people need to come back to Reddit, y'all, because we got a strong moderator team. We have a great community, and we like to kick the trolls out. And we obviously ban scammers with the help of some of Reddit's algorithms for fraud detection and whatnot. But we've also got a dedicated, real human moderator team. We got a team of 12, and we could handle 10x the volume of people we have right now. So come on back to Reddit. How Chisel says in the video, the clearest view of a man is from below, applies to an industry all the same. What we build out of this current trough provides the true view of where our intentions and principles lie. Because one fact remains, this industry refuses to die. My latest piece on if there is anyone left in crypto takes on a more journalistic approach as I explore this topic with my guests Griff Green, 0xjustice.eth, Amir Amin, Naomi Oba, and Colin. So he got Griff Green on there and 0xjustice.eth. These are some OG people. If you look at the post on Reddit, let me get back to the top, because he had a top level post. He didn't. I always tell him to make sure you put it in the daily too, but I want to go to the top level post because he has a nice write up here. But what it did is it actually brought a lot of people that don't come to the daily that are on the front page of Reddit and look at the R Ethereum front page. There was quite a long comment stream that took place here, and one of the biggest upvoted things was Twitter is a shithole full of scam artists, and posting anything about crypto will immediately get you bugged by a bunch of bots. Of course, it's the most muted word. Have you ever been on Twitter? And what the hell are you still doing on Twitter now? And Hal Chisel has a pretty good response. As much as it sucks, it's still the best place for the on the beat news and the liveliest conversations. I'm gonna put a footnote there that I talked to David Hoffman, Anthony Sassano, a lot of these OGs, DC investor. And I'm like, why'd you guys all leave? And they said the same exact thing. As much as it sucks, it's where the action is, right? It's not on Reddit anymore. So it's just the facts that they went with. Okay. Let's see. This person got removed, got you approved. Marcus Weber Berlin says Twitter's real value for crypto isn't the post. It is who you can actually reach in the replies. A founder or protocol dev will respond to a cold reply in a way they'd never respond to a cold email. Okay. And that symmetry is genuinely hard to replicate anywhere else. Reddit has the volume, but almost none of the signal. Most threads are people talking past each other with no skin in anything they're describing. Yeah. Logri, let's see. Logri, your shit got removed again. What is happening? Dude, you're shadow banned, Logri. So we're going to fix that. I'm going to give you a link. So I'll DM you after this show. Actually, I'll put it right here in case anybody ever gets shadow banned. I'm going to reply right now with this. There's an appeal link you can go to, and I think it's somewhat automated. Appeal your shadow ban. And there's no reason why you should be. This is another problem with Reddit. This is another problem with Reddit. Is that kind of shit?
I'll take a guess. So there was a Chisel's post that I was leaving some feedback on.
Yeah.
And my Reddit mobile app was saying failed to process. So I did a retry, and then it posted multiple times the same thing. And I assumed someone saw the double post and reported the second one as spam or something, and it just shadow banned me by that mechanism.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how many people just kind of do a silent walk away when that happens. They don't understand that it can be reversed. There's another reason why some people leave is they got tired of that kind of crap, And we went through and kind of tweaked the auto moderator a little bit to kind of ease up a little bit. Well, the problem was during like the ICO craze, you had a million tokens a day getting generated and so many scammers coming in. But now it's a lot better. But we'll get that fixed, and we'll make sure that doesn't happen again, at least within our power. Anyway, so check out Hal Chisel's YouTube channel. It's got 18,500 subscribers, and just really good quality content, great editing. There's all kinds of, it just keeps your attention. So we've kind of, I guess what I like about his style is it just hits a lot differently than a lot of crypto YouTubers did in the past. It's more of like going through the walk of life with crypto more so than the, number go up kind of, hands on face, aghast, kind of thumbnail clickbait stuff. So he does a really good job. Okay. Well, I think that's it for today. I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to chime in on. Be sure to subscribe to us wherever you can, dailydoots.com. We'll get this podcast published out from this live stream here in about an hour. And when I say we, I mean me. Kind of a one-man band on the production side, but we got a whole team of people at dailydoots.com still putting this show together for 154th episode. I'm going to sign off after I get that thing published and head on down into the Ozarks in Missouri, grab a paddle, listen to some banjos, and hope I can make it all the way through 6 miles just on a case of Busch Light. And anyway, that's all I got.
Touch some water, not some grass.
Yeah, I will. I have actually dialed back drinking quite a bit. I'm going to take I like those like seltzer water things to break it up a little bit. 50-year-old liver ain't the same as 25-year-old liver, so why even try? All right, well, thanks for smashing the bells around here. We'll see you next time. On behalf of the Ethereum Daily General Discussion and the EV Mavericks DAO, my name is JT. Cheers to big hugs from Kansas City.